Good morning, students. Today we are going to see the topic on evaluation metrics in generative AI models from the course Generative AI and Agentic System. Let us start with the icebreaking question. Can we trust the artificial intelligence outputs without any evaluation? As you know, the recent advancements and the phenomenal growth of generative AI and the agentic systems, which gives the excitement, but at the same time, it is giving the risk of differentiating the synthetic output with the real output. So here the focus areas are how the safety can be assured, how the bias can be balanced, and the hallucination, how it can be limited. So since all these things are understood or identified as AI dangers and risk, we need to work on this with the design thinking knowledge and approach. So here, the responsible AI should be explainable, should have a fairness, and should be having the involvement and interpretation of human design, and which produces the security, reliability, compliance. Then it could be the responsible AI. So here, the problem statement. Let's take an AI engineer or a policy analyst or a student. They are in a need of AI system which is safe and fair and reliable. For that, how the standards can be explained or how the standards can be maintained. So, which produces the results in terms of explainability and interoperability. So, here let us have an empathy and analysis first. So, here you see that uh, the various concerns about AI, like one is cheating by giving the information, wrong information, or environmental factors, or data privacy, or over reliance on the artificial intelligence, and potential job losses because of the AI. So these things are having the concern over the biased or unfair outputs. So there is a fear of incorrect information or the fabricated information, which leads the people or misguide the people or mislead the people to move on or work on the information. So let us define the design thinking approach, how the problem is clearly explained with the AI behavior. There is a trade-off between a creativity versus control. So here the loop of AI evaluation is to, in the first phase of pre-project phase, we have to identify the use cases which is suitable for the AI, then followed by the data collection, then by the UI UX design with the right skill set, then the production and scaling, then finally the retrospective analysis. So here the key question is to how do we evaluate generative AI in all these phases? So the safety evaluation metrics, it is explained. There is a toxicity, the toxicity which makes unwanted information or the breach of original information. So all creates a toxicity in the generative system. That is a harmful things for the human being. So here the policy adherence rate and the adversarial robustness has to be maintained. For that, the language detection, the toxic language detection called TLD, and toxic language generation also has to be limited. So here the activity for students, you have to classify the safe and unsafe state by using the prompting or the generated response. So you know what is the AI generated responses are automatic customer communication with smart replies. So you have to see whether the reply is smart or not. So that is the first cut of evaluation metrics. You have to map the issues in that. Then finally, the biased evaluation matrix, which has the fairness matrix, disparate impact analysis, and model interoperability. So these are the various techniques to find the biasness in the produced information, right? And hallucination also we have separate metrics, like where we have to maintain the factual consistency, the faithfulness of the information, and also the human verification rate. So, which means how much the factual rate in hallucination, what is the context in the hallucination, and what is the multimodal hallucination, and what is the logical hallucination. So, in all the four types, we have to have a scale or a metrics to calculate the hallucination rate. Then finally, we'll come to know the prototype and demonstration where the prompting skills are explained, uh, the model generated response and the hallucination detection workflow it is explained. So based on this, we will be able to catch up the information whether it is consistent or it is producing the exact knowledge which is being required, and all the prompt instructions are will be given well in advance. So, as per the T-shaped model of applications, we are using this in healthcare, finance, and education law and future regulations ethics. Also, it is used in the marketing and business, etc. So let us take a role play. Like one person has to enact like a AI developer, other person has to enact like ethics reviewer. Which metrics matters the most? So you have to take a role play of these two characters, and you have to see who, with an empathy, you have to analyze this. So finally, the key metrics are what we have learned is like we came to know the impact level of the hallucination, safety, and bias, whether it is coming at a cosmetic level or functional level or a critical level. And here the assessment is to create a trustworthy AI. So you have to answer for the reliability measures and for the resilient features and also for the responsible AI features. So you have to create a brainstorming of with the question: Can AI ever be fully trusted? With a peer group discussion and followed by that.